What's up, everybody? Hey, Mayor, how you doing? Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. Sorry I didn't have a morning show. I'm trying to get my new setup working. I have a new desktop, but everything's different. And also, I lost a monitor. It's a long story. I have a new. I have a. It's a long story. Anyway, let's see what's up. But anyway, Mayor, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. I'll make you my first comment on my new computer, but I'm just still trying to figure out how, because this it's an Apple. I like Apple, but I haven't used an Apple. Oh, I can't do that. They won't let me do it. Hey, Thomas, how you doing, bud? Well, yeah, it's running great. It works great. I mean, it's wonderful, but it's totally different and stuff. And it's for security reasons. It's not going to let me share the camera from one from so it wants me to punch in my password, which I just had to reset. Third thing is I had to reset every password I have, and I'm trying to just sync them together. Anyway, I don't know what can I do. I can't believe so I can't show the screen. I can't believe this. Anyway, well that's why I did this. I did this just to see we could talk or whatever. You guys have any questions or you want to shoot the breeze? I mean, I thought about just having a live stream from my old computer since that one works, even though it's maybe that's what I should have done. But that's the reason I wanted to do it this way is to figure out what else I needed to do on this. And there's a bunch of security things. I mean, Apple really takes their security seriously. And I slammed Windows for years, but really Windows is good too. It's different. I mean, the latest version of Windows works fine as well. It's just kind of what you're used to. And in fact, now that I've used Windows for a while, there's some stuff on Windows that I like better. But anyway, whatever. But everyone knows Apple's great, but it's not for everybody. Hey, we got Bon in the house. Also, I'm not trying to make excuses, but I'm getting old, and I used to have bifocals. So so now I just have readers, and I can't see the screen. I can see this all right, but I'm getting new lenses, but they're on the way. But that's why I haven't been making. It's uncomfortable to make content because I can barely read anything further than a couple of feet. So when I'm not online, I sit in here like this. So anyway, yeah, my workflow's totally switched. But anyway, but I certainly do apologize. I anticipate it once I get all these things worked out, uh, it'll be wonderful, right? And my main problem that I have right now is I have a little Thunderbolt 2 to Thunderbolt 3 adapter that's going to be here the day after Saturday. It'll be here Saturday. Once I have that, that's going to free up a second monitor, and I'll just have StreamYard in one place, and then everything else on that second monitor, and it'll be way better. But I was just trying to figure out what else I needed to do right now. So, sorry I can't show any screen or whatever. You guys have any? Did anyone get any of that TDAC? That what's that called? It's not the income. It's called the the new SPY that's like that has 30% leverage on it. The new T-SPY, TDAC and T-SPY with 30% extra leverage. What are they calling that? It's not Income Blast. That's Tuttle. I can't keep up with all the branding, but anyway, does anyone have any of that? Yeah, Lift. The Lifted. They're lifted, of course. Everything has to sound so great. Yeah, the other thing is I don't know where to put the freaking camera. I mean, I could put it over here on this one, but I guess that is better. All right. That's better. All right, guys. Well, this is kind of a bust for a live stream. There's only 6 of you here, and every one of you guys is commenting. We have Bond, we have Thomas, we have Dipped in Degenerate, we have Michael checking in from the Philippines. Well, hey there. And we have Mayor, and that's it. Well, there's 7. There may be one person that's not commenting. Yeah, but I'll get all these things worked out, and hopefully my new glasses will be here before the weekend. Because I guess I could sit here, but I literally have to sit here to be able to work. I mean, I guess that's just getting old for you, but on those bifocals, I could sit back there and I could, a little bit better. So I can't believe it. Hey, Mark's here. Mark's in the house. Mark, we're having technical problems. I'm starting to agree that now that I've used a good Windows rig for a year. This Windows laptop I have, the most recent one, is a 4K monitor. It's a beast. I mean, anyway, Windows does have certain advantages that it does better. I don't like the way Apple handles the way Apple handles the multiple windows as well and stuff like that. But anyway, it's whatever. But now I'm still going to use my laptop. That's something else. I want to incorporate the laptop into the deal. I guess I could dock it, and I don't know, but I'm just trying to figure out the optimum way to use all this stuff. No, Thomas, the new glasses aren't progressive, and my cheap ass brother-in-law, they ought to be progressive because he owns the freaking company. I mean, he's the eye doctor, and it's his company. Yeah, and I'm stuck with, well, by progressive, they are no line. So yeah, I guess they're progressive. Okay. I was getting progressive and no line. I thought they were separate, but if you mean no line, yeah, they are, and they're fine. And I really like them, and I really got used to them. But I was getting to where it was too weak. At a distance, it was still getting blurry. So I went in and I had the prescription boosted a little bit, and I hope my sister sends them today. Or I hope they're here soon, because I'm not worth I know I'm having technical problems, but every time I try to do content, I last for about 30 minutes and then I want to lay down. My head hurts and stuff. Not having proper, not being able to see and having your glasses prescription right is a big hindrance to trying to do any type of work. Massive bull free money market is over. Yeah. So get this. I saw Tom Lee yesterday. He's turned bearish. I'm sure you guys saw it too. I'm seeing some guy today that I kind of like, and he's bearish and stuff. Yeah, seems like now everyone's bearish. But I mean, I don't know that they're wrong. I'm not disagreeing, but it might be a good time for some of that triple QH, or it might be a good time. I wonder if I can do something on this browser, and then I don't have to share I'm just sharing. Won't let me share the screen at all. Man, if I could just share a tab. Gosh darn it. Well, yeah, if I could just share a tab. Okay, watch this. It's going to let me do this, I think. Hopefully you guys could see that. All right. I don't know if you guys could see that, but I'll figure out all these technical problems. But it could be time for something like triple QH, or something like that. Oh yeah, and it worked. Okay, I figured out how to share the other tab. Okay, well I'll make progress. I'll figure that out. I'll figure this stuff out. So what have you guys been doing? Any trading? You saw call spread in the Qs, the 100 days out. The other thing is it's over a lot. A lot of people say, it's overbought. Well, that alone isn't enough reason for me. It's always overbought, but overbought plus a bunch of other things. I mean, I could definitely see there being a pullback this year. Tom Lee's saying like 20%. Um, and lots of times I'm saying if it happens, lots of times it happens in the first quarter, sometimes in the third quarter as well, or maybe both. I mean, anyway, I don't think it's for sure, but I think there's some nice profits. I'm just looking. What I'm looking to do is with the model portfolio, I've actually made some nice profits. Maybe not, the past month and in blocks and ULTY especially, but I've also had K Gold and K Silv the past month, so I've done all right. But I'm trying to think of a way to kind of to defensify a little bit. It's time for my first quarter rebalance, and I haven't rebalanced yet. So I need to do that in real life soon and make content on it. But I'm thinking about a buffer fund. Maybe I'll get a little triple QH, but somehow I'm going to de-riskify a little bit. And if I'm wrong and the market keeps going up, I'm still going to have a little blocks and a little Alti and a little WPay and a little QLDY and a little of those high risk ones that will keep going up. I mean, I'll still have plenty of those if I'm wrong and the market keeps going up. But if the market goes down, I don't know if I'm going to get an inverse. I think I'm going to get something defensive with a wide buffer or something. I don't know. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but anyway. So all right. Let's see what you guys are saying. I was trying to get a conversation started. Thomas and I were talking about classes. Yeah, but I agree. The free money bull market. Well, I don't know, over for good or anything, but over for a while. I mean, I think the next big move's down. I think we'll at least pull back and reset the market. Maybe kind of like we did last April. That wasn't 20%, but it was vicious and it was close. I mean, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see something like that coming around the corner sometime. Anyway, yeah, so we're all kind of on the same thing. Charles is an option, bro. And all of you, so's Thomas, and so are a lot of you guys in here. But Charles particularly. Anyway, Charles sold call spreads in the Qs 100 days out in time. Nice. 545 strike. Any reason not to go all on SBAR? I'm sensitive. Now, one thing about SBAR to clear up. So you guys probably know this, but I think some people have the idea that it can't lose money until the market drops 40% or 30% or whatever the barrier is. Different fun, but its NAV will go down prior to busting the. These things aren't immune from the NAV going down, but just because of the wide buffer, the NAV ought to go down a little bit slower. But the NAV will still go down, so anyway, just keep that in mind. But so they aren't really, they're more defensive, but they aren't, it's not a hedge or whatever. A hedge would be like something like, something like Chaos, or what's that new hedge one? Does anyone have any of that new hedge one? What's it called? It just came out the other day. Somebody help me in the comments. But yeah, I guess so. I can do everything in one window, I guess. Anyway, yeah, HEQT, that's a good one. Now, Charles does this. I was mentioning the option bros in the room. I mentioned Charles. I mentioned Thomas. That both of you guys have been known to do uh, collars yourselves on your own stocks. In other words, doing what these ETFs are doing, what HEQT is doing essentially, or similar type strategies as buffer funds and stuff. All right, May, you're thinking besides SBAR to sell your silver and get more gold. Yeah, CAIQ. What about CAIQ? CAIQ. What about? Oh yeah. Once again, this one, just to be sure, this is awesome. But if the market goes down, this one will drop also. This one's not it just should drop slower. But yeah, it could be a good time for CAIQ. In other words, you guys understand there's 52 of these bonds. What happens is if the market drops 40%, that the bond will just do one. There's one bond for every week. But if the market drops, 40% from where the first one was put on, that bond doesn't have to pay a payment. So you aren't getting your payment. So a lot of people say, well, that's no big deal. No payment because these things don't pay a lot anyway. Heck, it's only 15% or whatever. These things aren't, and it's only one bond, and these things, it's fine. Hopefully the market bounces, I start getting payments again. But as the market drops, as the market's down 20% and 30% and 35%, the NAV of these things are going to go down because it's closer to the barrier getting busted and then not paying. The not paying the payment is the least of your problem. The not paying the payment, it's so these things, not that these things aren't great ideas, but they aren't immune from dropping. Really not a lot of stuff is unless you get an inverse. These should give you a 30%, whatever the coupon is or whatever the barrier is. It's like having that big of a head start, though. I'm not talking trash on them. I think some people think it indemnifies you from a loss, which it won't do. And I heard I heard an influencer say that CAIQ has to drop more than there you guys are. I heard an influencer say that CAIQ has to drop more than 40% or in a year. And they said, well, you could go back and look at records and no, but that's not true. It has to drop more than 40% in 5 years. Lots of those bonds are 5 years long. So I mean, and it could easily do that, but anyway, but statistically, you'd probably be all right. I'm not trying to talk trash on them. So statistically, yeah, okay, I like this kind of stuff. So Mayer's saying, based on short history, SBAR is 0.2 correlated to, yeah, okay, yeah, I'd agree with that. So yeah. So if the market's down 50%, this SBAR will be down 10, something like that. I think SBAR will be down a little bit more than 10 if the market's down 50. But yeah, but yes, but it's not immune. But yes, it is buffered. That's why these things are called buffer funds. It's like you start with a huge head start. You start with a 30% head start. With SBAR to move, so ignore the share price, focus on total return. Well, yeah, I mean, you can focus on total return at the end of the year on a lot of these. I mean, for sure. Hey, Marcus, how you doing? I was just trying to see trying to get my new setup working. So with mixed success, but thank you for showing up, bud. SBAR is essentially a high risk savings account, but higher returns. Yeah, I mean, SBAR, it's yeah, way higher returns, and I mean, the 15% head start isn't nothing, but I'm saying, or whatever it is. There's all of these have different barriers, and I get the barriers mixed up from one to the other. Is that's part of the 30% barrier, but in any event, but I'm just saying if the market drops, the NAV of those will also drop, even if it never goes through the 30% or whatever. Still doesn't mean they aren't. Still doesn't mean they won't be good investments. Guess what else? The NAV of all these other things, blocks, whatever, same thing, will also be dropping. Yeah, they might be making a yield or whatever, but yeah. So pretty much everything's dropping. Pretty much everything's dropping when the NAV's down, right? All right. Well, let's see what else can I look at here. I guess I can look at anything in this tab. Is what I figured out how to do. Well, let's do this then. Also, it's messing me up not to have a touchpad. There's just a lot of things. I know it. I mean, but I can't pitch to Zoom. You know, I have double click to Zoom. I turned double click to Zoom on, but it's not on this app. But so there's no way I can, like, sometimes I like to pinch to Zoom and just do other stuff. I'm just trying to get used to all this stuff. Anyway, it looks like a good day to begin used to this. Looks like the market's grinding straight sideways. It's in yesterday afternoon's range. It's in this morning's range. That's on the SPY. The Qs, same thing. They're within yesterday afternoon's range and this morning's range. It would appear. Let's look at. We'll look at IBIT. IBIT, same thing. It's actually in. Yeah, it's trading in yesterday's range. Gap down and bounced, which is good for the bulls. Good for the bulls. All right. Well, I'm starting to get some of this down better. I'll work on this. I'll work on all this other stuff. Yeah, but I missed your podcast, Dividend Degenerate. I feel terrible. I would love to listen to it. I've just been buried over here. What's up, Roxanne? You're saying CAIA? What? See, well, you mean it's CAIE, you mean? Are you talking about this one? I mean, these are, don't get me wrong, these are awesome. Paying a 14% yield. Let's do, well, yeah, these are awesome. I was going to check the correlation to the market but it doesn't matter. These are, if the market drops, these will drop too, just less fast. What the heck is KIQQ? I haven't heard of that. Is that KJ? Gosh darn. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Where did this one come from? You guys can't just keep springing these on me. Well, my computer, you know, I go on vacation and then I get a new computer. You can't miss 1 week. You miss 1 week and you're so far behind. I'll never catch up. What the heck? A NASDAQ hedged option income strategy? Holy cow. Love the sound of it. But I love this. But to be fair, I like the sound of other ideas that didn't work out in practice. But let's see what this is. KIQQ is designed for investors seeking to maintain exposure, blah, 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 blah. Caller, I just want to try to see what they're doing. So obviously they're doing a caller. They're selling a call, buying a put, blah, blah, blah. They take it one step further by using the NASDAQ Inspector X Dynamic Buffered High Income Index as its benchmark. Well, I'll be damned. Okay. Oh gosh. I forgot the copy paste is different on an Apple, but which is fine. Anyway. I'm going to look that up I'm going to open that up in another tab before I forget. But yeah, this looks interesting. Obviously, the index uses NASDAQ 100 Futures Excess Return Index to delta replicate the loss limiting puts while selling out of the money calls to generate. The enhanced approach seeks to provide upside participation, a potential reduction in hedging costs, and monthly distributions. Interesting. All right. Well, yeah. How long has this thing been out? Good call, Marcus. I mean, and what was the other hedging one? There was one came out that was just a tail risk fund the other day. Hey, Grateful Trader, what's up there? Thomas is saying IWM is bucking the trend today. I need to work on my presentation here. I need to figure out how to share more than one tab, but at a time. Heck yeah. I mean, smaller stocks kicking into gear. Yeah. Bucking the trend. Bucking the trend. Mayor, the safest fund with above an 8% yield. I don't know. SPY-I, Triple QI. What do you guys think? I mean, safe is relative. It depends on what you know. But on the safer side, I would say SPY-I and Triple QI, T-SPY, TDAC. Above 8%, it could be a lot of them. You got a lot of good choices there. But yeah, Marcus, that KI Triple Q looks really good. What about Will or GRNI? Yeah. And just trust Marcus. He was right on he was right on a bunch of stuff. Okay, so Magos first. I want to talk about Magos. So their first distribution was 8 cents. All right. So 8 cents distribution. What does that equal? What's 8 times 52? Was that like $4, $4.50, something like that? What is it? A $20 stock. So is it going to be what, a 25% yield? I mean, which I'd be fine with if it had really good upside. So let's go look. I mean, every time I look, it's just really too new to really look at. But I mean, let's look at the daily bars. Well, I mean, it looks like your typical high yield fund down and to the right, boom, down and to the right. But I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Let's overlay what it follows, which is the Magnificent Seven, on a new price scale. Let's overlay the Mag 7. So the Mag 7 is well, that's not what I wanted to do. That is not at all what I wanted to do. Gosh darn it, there's some things that I'm just going to have to get used to. Move to new pane below. All right, well, so that's okay. The Mag 7, they bought it when the Mag 7 was on a high. All right, they came out, so if the reverse had happened, they'd be in good shape. Anyway, so what did they do here? So they started at 25. They're trading at 24.57. Typical high yield fund. They bleed off 43 cents of your freaking money, NAV, and then give you 8 cents of it back and say, good. Yeah, typical freaking Ponzi scheme. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. I'm just being silly. All right, guys. All right, Charles is saying SBAR is one of those keep buying every payday check. Yeah, so you're sold on SBAR, man. That's impressive, Charles, because you're kind of jaded. Not jaded is the wrong word, but you've been around the block. You don't go for every scheme, every new strategy that you hear of, or anything like that. So that SBAR, I wonder what they're doing. I wonder if they're. I've looked at it before, but they're is it a put spread there, or no? They're just selling a call to buy a put. I'm trying to. Some of those have it where they're totally, where they do a put spread and they just slow down losses past a certain level. And some of them they sell a call to buy a put. Some do a caller, and some do a put spread caller, whatever. Anyway, but I haven't done anything yet. I was leaning towards CAIE. Isn't CAIE the okay? Let's look at this really quick. Let's look at this really quick because I need to do something soon. I need to do something before the market starts falling. I thought about getting 5% more of Salty or something with the market at all-time highs. If the market does drop from here, I mean, that could work out all right. But then the market keeps going up. It's just going to drag on my account. I think I'm just going to do something more defensive. Just allocate more with a wider berth. Give my investments a wider. Tom, who's in the comments right now, advised me to do a bond ladder, and I would have been better I should have listened to him. I would have come out ahead of where I came out because I came out even for the year, and I would have, if I'd done the bond ladder, I'd been up 5%, 4%, whatever, 4.5%, whatever it is. Anyway, but maybe next year we'll see. But yeah, I should have listened to Tom. Should have listened to Tom. Okay, so CAI, let's look at CAIE and let's look at SBAR. I just wanted to see how these have been stacking up against each other lately. Now you guys can see this tab. Oh no, you can't. But watch, I just figured it out. Look at that. I'm getting good. All right. So, I mean, that's a great look for CAIE. CAIE went from 25 to 27 in half a year and paid a $2 dividend. I mean, that's clean. Its NAV was up $2 and it paid a $2 dividend. It doesn't get much cleaner than that. It doesn't get much cleaner than that. So that's like a $4. That's $4 worth of gains. I mean, on 25, that's 1/5. That's 20%. I mean, that's nice. SBAR though, I mean, SBAR, it I'm sure it does what it's supposed to, but its strategy just in this market, the strategy just didn't work out quite as well as. So, and now there's so many of them. Yeah, there's the 15% buffer fund. But now I've decided, I've limited it down. I've decided I'm going CAIE or SBAR. Or my mandate is it has to be something that earns a yield. So I'm not going to do a chaos or something that's just straight bearish, or has to be something that sells premium somehow. I'm trying to sell premium. So I'm trying to maximize those opportunities. But I think CAIE, I think it'd be a great time for CAIE. Yeah, if the market drops, the NAV will drop on CAIE. That's true, but it won't drop as fast as it'll drop on, on a lot of other things that I'm considering. So, okay, let's see. You guys, Marcus is giving better explanations than I am. Marcus is saying okay, what did it? Oh, we're talking about the safest. Safest above 8 is SPY KHPI. I hadn't thought about that one in a while. I don't think that's in the max factor. I need to make sure to put that in the max factor. Or QDevo, yeah, those could definitely work. Um, you know, once you're, I mean, you know, T Spy so far anyway. I don't know. You'd really call it super. I mean, you know, none of these are even Spy Eye's not going to do great if Tom Lee's right and the market's down 20%. Um, you know, but it won't do as bad as some of the other ones. All right. You've been thinking about getting started or on XV, which is a 15% buffer fund. So S bar's 30, right? And XV is 15, just as far as buffers go. Why S bar over XV? Oh, yeah, this is a good explanation. S bar's better growth. XV is better distribution. And let's talk about that. So XV has a smaller buffer. It has half the buffer size. So since you have less protection, you get a higher yield. On S bar, because you have more protection. It has to come out of somewhere, because I get that. So you get better distribution with XV, and it's more offensive if you think, but S bar is more. Well, S bar also more protection on the downside, but yeah, I got it. That's a good explanation. S bar commits to barrier over payment. XV commits to payment over barrier. Well, isn't XV a target fund? Don't think it, I thought XV was a 15% target. Where I got confused was it a 15% barrier target, or was it a 15% yield target? I kind of got confused on that. Maybe one of you guys know the answer to that. Let's see what Charles is saying. XV's, yeah, more aggressive. What was I saying? Because you have less defense, so you're going to have, you could do all these same trades with callers. Well, these guys are using callers, but yeah, it's just, like I always say, options can do two things. You can get a yield and you can get downside, but it's hard to start doing three things. If you want to get a yield, get that, But anyway, the two things that these are trying to do well is to pay a yield and to give you downside after a point. S bar protects your downside after 30%, right? Or up to 30%. No, they protect your downside up to 30%. Yeah, so they're more defensive. So they're going to have less, just in the grand scheme of things, there's going to be less juice in that trade. So there's less, it's going to spit off less income. It shouldn't pay you more income. That's exactly the way it should work. Okay, so Marcus from the great state of Pennsylvania has strained me out. Marcus is saying, yes, it is a 15% yield target. So is SBAR a 30% yield target, or is it a 30% barrier? Don't some of these have barrier targets? Oh, wait, I know a target's not a barrier, but some of these, I think, in the number, if it has a number, it refers to the barrier. Sometimes it refers to the yield. And maybe I'm getting confused. SBAR loses like regular long stock only after a drop bigger than 30%. Exactly. So if the market's down 40%, in theory, SBAR ought to be down about 10. Market's down 50%, SBAR ought to be down 20. So even if the market, and the point I was trying to make earlier is, even if the market hasn't gone through the barrier, it doesn't mean like the fund won't lose NAV until it goes through the barrier. If the market's down 20%, and then 25%, the fund won't be down 20 or 25%. SBAR will be down maybe 10%. Be down a fraction of that, but it'll be down in just because it's getting close to busting the barrier. Because, like we say, if it does end up busting the barrier by 10%, so then it's down 10%. So if the market's down, it depends. It depends. It depends. But yeah, these it might be a good year for these funds. It looks like we're on the same target. None of us are wildly bullish. you know, that I mean that I picked up on, and that I picked up on in here. So so let me figure out how to do this. Let's see. Trading view. I want to switch to this time. Oh shoot. All right. Well, the multiple windows. I didn't count on that. I have to get a trackpad. I've got, they make trackpads for desktops. A little desktop trackpad. I've got to get one of those. The window make thing. Okay, gosh darn it. All right. All I was trying to do is I was trying to go to TradingView, but then take you guys to TradingView with me. Oh, I guess I could just do it like this. All right. I finally figured out how to work StreamYard after all these years. All right. Well, I wonder if that's my neighbor. But yeah, I've got to get the trackpad. I've had to get the trackpad. I get the trackpad, everything will be fine. Everything will be great. So I guess we can look at the index buffer report. Maybe, no. All right, well, I'll work on all this other stuff. Yeah, the Max, it's going all right, Marcus. I like it. I like it, but it's just the everything's in, all the windows are in a separate place, and having to get all. I use multiple accounts on multiple computers. Anyway, and like I was just saying, I need a trackpad. I'm a big gesture guy. I'm a pincher, zoomer. I mean, I've got to get. I'm going to order that. I'm going to get out here. I'm going to get out here, and I'm going to go buy, one of those little desktop trackpads. All right. What are you talking about there, Charles? Charles is saying. Okay, so this is a Charles strategy. Okay, let's look at Charles. Okay. SBAR loses like a regular stock only after, yeah. Share price still going to drop, but should recover. Yeah, no, you and I, that's what I was trying to say, Charles. I was just trying to say it's not immune from dropping, but it has a huge head start. Yeah, if the market's down like 20%, SBAR might be down like 5%. But that only reason is because then if the market does drop, a little bit more, than SBAR will be, SBAR will be down a little bit just because of the risk. But you're right. If the market comes back, SBAR will come right back, and it's paying a yield the whole time unless it gets underneath the barrier. The other thing is, if you're really in it for the yield, all you really care is about the money. Now, that's true that we all really care about more than just the yield, but in the sense as a true income, as long as it doesn't bust the barrier, your yield's the same. Your NAV might go up and down, but yeah. So no, they're great funds. I wasn't trying to disparage it at all. All right. So, and then you're adding that daily chart, 100% R, buy the dips on underline once drop below 25. And then again, yeah, I hear you. What I like about you, Charles, is you are a systematic thinker. And you like math and you like systems. It seems like to me from our conversations. All right, guys. So I'm gonna get out of here. Sorry, this is a disaster for a live stream, but at least we had one. I had a max factor prepared for last night on my other computer. It was going to be gold and silver, but I just got to working on the new computer, and I just anyway. So we'll just do gold and silver tonight. I mean, the slides are already prepared. we'll do the Max Factor. The daily factor will be gold and silver night. All right, guys. And I don't know about an afternoon show since it's kind of late. It's already 2 o'clock my time. So I don't know about that. But anyway, hit me up in Discord if there's anything else we forgot to talk about. I'm going to keep working on this stuff. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here, and I'll talk to you later.